Our beloved Wall Street bets has been a little cliche lately, so let's mix it up and dive into the cruelest, most diabolical scams that left their hapless victims impoverished and dishonored. Personally, I think scammers should be forced to shovel rocks for 16 hours a day with no shoes. But whether you respect the hustle or love to hate them, you gotta admit, sometimes scammers get the last laugh after all. Let's get touchy-feely with the scammers and their victims, and pull no punches, as I present for your depraved pleasure this inaugural episode of Savage Scams. Let's crush horchata with our first savage scam victim, the son of Chapo Guzman 20. Papa Chapo is a common man in his mid-40s who appears to hold a satisfactory union job to support his wife and son. His son, name unknown, had recently turned 18, and like every teenager these days, his birthday was marked by signing up to Tinder immediately. After posting some selfies and swiping left and right for a day and a half, the son of Chapo quickly matched with a local girl around his age. Sparks flew on first contact, and over several weeks, casual conversation turned into raunchy sexting with a rapid salvo of nudes. Chapo's son was over the moon. Having such quick success on Tinder was rare, certifying him as a card-carrying Chad. And this girl was ready to meet and receive the full length of his shaft. But while in mid-fap, things took a diabolical turn. The young man was blue-balled by the girl's dad. Threatening messages filled his screen as an angry father dropped the bomb. The girl that Chapo's son was sexting was only 16. He had been sexting a minor for weeks, and all those images were now child exploitative material. El Chapo's son saw his life flash before his eyes. If he did not pony up $1,000 in Bitcoin, the girl's dad would report him to the police for unspeakable crimes and ruin his life forever. He had no choice. He didn't have $1,000, but talked the girl's father down to about the $450 he had. He coughed up his crypto and shot it out to the blockchain. The ransom paid, he was in the clear. For about 3 days. In short order, he got a text from a new number claiming to be the girl's father once again, demanding the other $550, which Chapo's son did not have. The son came crying to his father, begging for another $550 so he could buy Bitcoin and pay off his ransom. His life was in jeopardy, and he feared what would happen to a young Chad like him in prison. Chapo had never seen his son so scared, but Papa Chapo was not so easily swayed. His son was a criminal's target, not a criminal himself. And further, there was no girl. There was no dad. This was a scam designed to extort gullible young men into believing they're going to jail and sending hush money. Even if he did pay up everything, the scammer would have kept asking for more every week forever. This is a very common scam called simply the underage scam. Rest assured, the father of the girl is the same person, using some AI images or ripping off someone's OnlyFans. Delete, block, and report. If only Chapo's son had realized this sooner. Total gain for the scammer is $450 in Bitcoin, which has since risen in price, so he may have done much better than that. Try church girls instead, my man. Now, let's explore something a little closer to home with this next one, where I, Mikey Millions, was the victim in Savage Scam number 4. As a middleweight YouTuber, I am always on the hunt for ways to improve my production. After joining the YouTube Partners Discord, I learned just how much YouTubers obsess over analytics. If you are not constantly improving click-through rate and retention, you might as well go back to flipping burgers for minimum wage, because you're not going to make it. When in doubt, add a selfie of Mr. Beast to your thumbnail. Since my YouTube aspirations rise beyond trawling through the endless mud of Wall Street bets to find content, I decided to step up my game by getting some help. I get DMs and emails all the time from, quote, SEO specialists who want to improve my channel's results by maximizing the metrics that YouTubers obsess over. I usually just ignore these messages, but I decided this time to give it a shot, just to see if I could Mr. Beast my channel. I replied to the lucky winner of the cold email raffle, and we got to talking. His services included thumbnails, animation, titling, keywords, and the other usual stuff. For $40 a video, he'd do the basics. I also wanted some custom animation work, like this 3D render of Fuckboy dancing, which was more expensive. This animation looks great to me. Doesn't look like anybody else was excited though, unfortunately. But the key goods were thumbnails, titling, and descriptions. $40 a video is on the expensive side, and I really was not impressed by his thumbnails and titles, but I went with it. And the results were astounding. Thousands of unexpected views started pouring in. My click-through rate was through the roof. I came back to the specialist and wanted to do more videos together. He said he wanted to buy some stuff for his new baby and offered 12 videos worth of work for $400. I was hesitant since that was quite a bit, but as a new father myself, I empathized and I paid up. The next video's results were odd. Kamikaze Cash is usually a sausage fest. 99% male viewers, almost all from the Anglosphere. That's more male viewership than most World War II fan fiction channels. My next video's results with a 50-50 male to female ratio was really out of place, and views were pouring in from Russia and India. They were also coming in oddly, with thousands of views 1 minute, and then nothing, and then thousands more. I realized right away what had been done. The scammer was making junk thumbnails and then sending bots to view my channel after I published. He put much more effort into disguising the first video, but he got lazy fast, exposing his deception. The whole plan was to make it look like he was doing great work, but it was all a trick. I contacted YouTube customer support to get their take, but all they could do was agree that there was evidence of a significant external push for views, potentially the work of an influencer. When I confronted the scammer, he said he was sharing my videos on social media in Russia to get views, but that completely undermines his explanation of great SEO work and also doesn't make sense. There's no way that social media influencers in Russia were sharing my video on American tax saving strategies. And besides, if you can get that many views from sharing videos on Twitter, you're not doing it for $40 a video for strangers. I got scammed and it's a clever ruse, I have to admit. Total gain for the scammer is $400, and I paid $100 for this animation, which he probably subcontracted on Fiverr for $10, so more gains there. This is a variation of the pig butchering scam, in which you bait your victims with low-cost investments up front, and then take massive gains when they pony up larger amounts later. This variation of the pig butchering scam is slick and creative, and I respect the hustle. Take it from me, boys, we gotta stay on our toes. Now let's explore something else that's pretty clever. In Savage Scam number 3. A user by the name of Hungarian-Free3125 was down on his luck after several months of unemployment. Having no remarkable skills, he was drawn to jobs with low barriers to entry that he could start immediately. He applied online to work as a fry cook at a fast food chain from Louisiana called Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. Within a few days, he received an email that said a recruiter had received his application and wanted to interview him immediately for open positions. The Hungarian was thrilled to finally start making $7.50 an hour and eagerly scheduled a Zoom meeting. This is where things got odd for our impoverished friend. The Zoom interview had nothing to do with Raising Cane's Chicken and Waffles. In fact, the interview was for a work-from-home data analytics position that paid more than $2,000 a month, a significant increase from the less than $1,000 he'd make at the fry joint. As strange as this was, our man didn't want to raise any questions, since the recruiter was clearly interviewing the wrong person, and he definitely wanted this job instead. The interview went swimmingly. The recruiter was impressed by the big man's 2.7 GPA and Microsoft Word skills. The job was his, as soon as he bought the requisite equipment. To complete this job, the employee needed an external card reader, a second monitor, a smartphone, and a $1,500 laptop with preloaded software, purchased directly from the authorized supplier. The employee would be reimbursed 100% on his first paycheck. Despite not having $1,500 to spare, our man put the order on PayPal credit, looking at it as an investment into his brighter future. And then, things went dark. All of a sudden, he had a hard time getting back in touch with the recruiter. The job seemed to just disappear. And even worse, the computer equipment never even showed up. There wasn't even an order confirmation email. Everything was just gone. Reality set in. There was no job. The recruiter was just a scammer, or employed as an accessory to the scammer. The entire point of the scam was to sell somebody equipment that didn't exist for an equally non-existent job. It was merely a coincidence that he had applied to Raising Cane's just prior. Our man was right back to where he started, but now indebted $1,500 to PayPal. He did intend to file a chargeback, but has not disclosed his success or failure. This is a famous subcategory of job scams called advance fee scams. There are 0 legitimate companies in the world that will make you buy expensive equipment from a no-name e-commerce store to get started. Their mission is to sell you fake equipment, not land you a job. Total gain for the scammer is $1,500 if the chargeback was not successful. That's some serious gains in exchange for some bad karma. Remember, desperation is the scammer's best friend. Now, let's show some respect for Lil Cuz in Savage Scam number 2. User FrostRock101 was engaging in his own personal British activity somewhere in the UK when a pair of adolescents knocked on his door. Two young boys explained that they were raising money to go on vacation holiday to the US and wanted to wash his car for £5, which is about $6 after Brexit. Rockman agreed to the terms and handed him a polymer strip worth £5, bearing the face of Winston Churchill. To get started, the young boys needed water for their buckets. Rockman took the kid's bucket to his sink and filled it up, but returned to only find one of the boys there. According to the one still there, the others started crying relentlessly for unspecified reasons and took off down the street. After getting his bucket back, the remaining boy ran off to, allegedly, fetch the other kid, but neither returned. Both kids disappeared into the British fog, their sponge, bucket, and new fiver in hand, already moving on to their next target's house. I applaud the hustle and grind of these two young kids, who managed to not sacrifice any equipment in their process. There's no evident name for this scam, but it's usually just called fraud. And even better, you can't really prosecute a 12-year-old, making this a low-risk strategy for the fraudsters. I can't knock that hustle. Now, let's finish with something straight up sad for our most savage scam. Jack and Diane got married in 1991 and lived a fairly humble life in Northern California, paving their way to retirement through good old-fashioned American hard work. In 2016, Jack turned 69 and was old enough to collect Social Security with maximum benefits, so he quit his blue-collar job with little fanfare. Diane was 10 years his junior and had several years of work ahead, leaving Jack bored at home by himself. By 2022, after some extensive time doing some marginal home improvement, fishing, and watching the NFL, Jack simply got bored and decided to pursue a hobby. Writing, gardening, volunteering, all of these were of little interest to our beleaguered pensioner. He needed something with more oomph. Then he figured it out. He would open a business helping Instagram models spread their brand, especially those desiring to become nude models. This is a very suspicious hobby for an old man looking to occupy his downtime. But seemingly unaware of this red flag, Diane continued working as usual, while Dirty Jack established his online presence as an Instagram model promoter. He made a mock-up Instagram page and ripped off images of Instagram models and cam girls, claiming the pictures to be a portfolio of his own work. Within a day, DMs were flooding in from hopeful models that thought Jack was their ticket to fame and fortune. At least, that's what they said. Over the following 12 months, Jack was relentlessly targeted by attractive, fiery vixens aged 18 to 25 who were just dying for an older, mature man to take care of them. Between raunchy photos and captivating words that reversed the old man's ED, Jack was led to believe that he was in high demand among these models. Rather than getting paid to promote their IG and OnlyFans, Jack was soon sending gift cards and topping up PayPal accounts to take care of daddy's girls. The amount of money he was sending to an ever-increasing number of contacts eventually exceeded his Social Security benefits, and he started dipping into savings and Diane's earnings. And that's when she took notice that she was still grinding away at work while her husband was sending money to young women who were actually Indian and Nigerian men. Despite every plea, Diane couldn't get through to Jack. He had immersed himself in a fantasy world, and there was no pulling him out. He even took off to New York to meet his favorite Instagram model for whom he had bought a plane ticket from Spain. Of course, there were plenty of valid reasons why she always missed her flight or otherwise couldn't make it. Jack was more than happy to send some more of Diane's money so his Spanish babe could enjoy the spa while she waited for another flight, which she also missed 5 times. This ordeal is what really pushed Diane over the edge. Jack was taking all of his Social Security, dipping into their savings, and buying gift cards, plane tickets, and luxury gifts, all on credit, to meet a girl who didn't exist. This was cheating, theft, and dishonor to the family all rolled into one. She managed to get access to Jack's Google account to find out exactly what was going on, and found lengthy and penetrating conversations dating back months. She states there were an unbelievable number of scammers he was talking to. In reality, it was probably just a handful that were using multiple accounts. But his favorite was the one coming from Spain. When she landed, he planned to marry her. But of course, she never made it. Jack came back to California with his tail between his legs. The whole ordeal was well beyond embarrassing. Diane took one more shot at having a come-to-Jesus moment with Jack, but he simply would not budge. Diane took some time away from the house, but continued to read Jack's messages via Google. While Diane was away, Jack continued to message his Spanish girl, admitting he was so distraught that she missed her flight again that he intended to OD on Norcos, which is mostly hydrocodone. Diane called the police, and they found him passed out after taking 15 to 20 pills, but he was saved after receiving medical attention. But even this did not stop him. 2 weeks later, he was already sending more money and buying more plane tickets. His and Diane's joint bank account was drained, overdrafted by $2,000. He even canceled Diane's credit cards to make sure that she couldn't cause any more trouble for him while he was using them. In her last post, Diane intended to file for divorce, but there is no update to describe how that went. Total gain for the scammers is unclear, but more than $20,000, and it killed an over 32-year relationship. The rest of these stories had some humor in them, but this savage scam is just sad. This is called a romance scam, and it's super effective against older people who aren't familiar with the internet. It's most commonly perpetrated against men, but it does happen to women too. Ladies and gentlemen, educate yourselves. When your parents told you not to talk to strangers, that applies to the internet too. When in doubt, pull out. And to all the scammers, I hope you all get chlamydia and gout at the same time. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Savage Scams.